All right, new day and another laptop that needs to be saved, and this time we have a Precision 7710. Now this is a 17-inch professional workstation machine. Now this was sent to me because the machine no longer turns on. He says when he plugs in this charger, it actually turns off the charger light on there, which is indicative of some sort of short on our main power rail. I haven't taken a look at this yet. Let's take a look together and see if we can get this figured out. So since it does short out the charger, I don't know if I want to plug in the charger, because the more times you plug this in, the more damage you can cause, because the charger has to go into like protection mode. And the chargers I have are 240 watt and 330 watt. That's a lot of gigawatts going into the machine. So we're looking at 12 amps, 16 amps to short straight to ground. So we're gonna open it up, just see if we can turn it on, and then I'm gonna pop the bottom and start doing a little bit of measuring, and we'll figure out exactly if we do have a short somewhere that's gonna be damaging anything, because if it is a short to the CPU, we're ruining the CPU every time we plug it in. I'm hitting the power button, nothing's happening here. These are beautiful machines. They are really thick, but they are durable. So these things will last you forever. And what I like about them, they are pretty modular. This keyboard lattice comes off and the keyboard comes out the top here. You have 2 sticks of RAM here underneath the keyboard and then 2 sticks of RAM on the bottom. So you have 4 sticks of RAM. It does have a modular GPU. The CPU on this one is built on the board. So that's the only kind of downfall, but what can you do? Let's pop the bottom off and take a look inside. Look at this, no screw to take this part off. Just flip that little latch over. Now we have access to the battery. All right, so this is not populated, it's just an empty 2.5-inch drive, but it does go there. Yeah, so you flip this latch right here, the battery comes out. I think this is a fake battery. It does feel fake, it looks fake, it doesn't say Dell on it anywhere, so we do have an aftermarket battery. There's no serial number on it. It could be the problem, it could not be the problem for all I know. And then now we just need to take this cover off. It's just a couple screws, and the screws are not even in, but this just slides out like that, and then this whole bottom comes off. So we have 2 NVMEs here, and then 2 sticks of DDR4, and there is 1 drive in here. I'm gonna take this out too. The fake battery ruined the laptop. You know, I can't say no, cannot say no. But our goal is to make sure that we're not causing more damage than what we have. So we have an SSD here. It's a P5 2280, so it's a 1 terabyte. All right, so can we get to the main power rail from here? I don't see any access to it, actually. Sometimes you can find like a inductor or a coil somewhere that you can measure off of, but I don't see anything. And measuring on the DC jack is not gonna do you anything, but we can check it, because if there is a short on the MOSFETs that protect the motherboard, then we would have a short all the way to the jack, which is very rare. I've only had it happen a couple times, but we will check that. So I'll just measure across here and see if we have a short there. And there's short across there. It looks like these are all tied together and these are all tied together. And so no short across the jack itself. So that's not what's causing the actual short out. It does have a CMOS battery on these machines. You know, we can unplug it, doesn't really matter, because at this point we just have a short. That's the problem. So sometimes these things want to stay in there and never come out. There we go. All right, so CMOS battery is unplugged. CMOS battery's purpose is just to keep the real-time clock or the settings inside the BIOS, so it doesn't have to do any CMOS reset at the time whenever you turn it on, like if the battery goes dead. The main battery is what's keeping actually all the settings anyway. It comes apart pretty easy. Now there's still issues where we have to pull the palm rest off to actually access what we need to get to, so I am kind of happy for the fact that you can take it apart just enough to upgrade things, but it's not easy to fix, I guess. All right, so I'm not gonna be able to access anything here, so we have to actually start pulling things apart. It looks like all the screws are not even in the palm rest right now. All right, so I gotta pull this keyboard out. When we access this, then we can actually start pulling all the rest of the stuff off and then pull the palm rest off. All right, we gotta make sure to unplug these. Don't forget to unplug this, because this actually pulls through to the keyboard. All right, the keyboard is out. I just want to get to a power rail so I can measure to see if we have a short on the main power rail, because I don't plug in stuff when I know there's a short somewhere. All right, so here's our RAM. I should move the RAM from the bottom of his machine into the top part of his machine, because that's the way it's supposed to be installed, by the way. So if you ever buy one of these, they actually have the RAM under here, because then you can add it in the bottom without having to pull the keyboard out. All right. And the palm rest is off. Okay, so, you know, at the starting we were like, this is great, it's modular, it's really easy to work on. Well, it took me forever to even get to a point where I could actually measure the power rail. So, yes and no. All right, so we have a modular GPU here. CPU is built on the motherboard. I realized there must be a reason why they sent it to me instead of replacing the board. Maybe because they wanted me to save another Precision. Oh, I think it's because, I remember now. So this machine needs to be fixed because I think they have software on it that is tied to the motherboard. That's what it is. So it's not a matter of just replacing the motherboard. It's a matter of getting the machine working to work with their software. That's what it is. But anyway, let's measure around, see if we have any shorts. Okay, so we're gonna measure right here, coming in on this capacitor going into this. This should be the main power rail. Yep. So this is the output. This is the MOSFET that reduces the voltage, and this will be the input voltage. And we have, I'm trying to press hard to try to get the ohms rating here, but 0.35 ohms on that side. There we go, point whatever. So that's my rail is about 0.1. So this side is our actual short here. And so we do have a short. It is almost a dead short, but it could be even a CPU short on a MOSFET because the measurement's right around 0.3 or so. So now we can actually figure out what is causing it, because at first we didn't want to plug it in because I don't want to just short out the charger. But the idea is when we have a short on our main power rail, which is the 20 volts that powers all the other power rails, the machine's supposed to have these MOSFETs that shut off. They're like little switches that say, hey, there's too much current coming in, let's shut that off. It doesn't turn off the charger, it just keeps the board from energizing. But if it's actually shorting out and turning off the charger, that means that our protection MOSFETs are actually shorted too, which we can actually check that. Can the CPU short the charger? It can. So if the MOSFET that goes to the CPU is shorted, like it basically, because it's only supposed to run at 1 volt, if it's shorted out, it will do it. Okay, DC jack plugs in. Where's the DC jack plug in at, guys? It routes over here, plugs in right there. So this is what we're looking for, is the electronics on the other side of that. And of course, there's nothing here. So that means it's on the other side of the board. But we'll look at that in a second. I think I just want to pull the heatsink off of here. You know what? We can actually take the GPU out of the picture and see if the short goes away, because it could just be a shorted GPU. So it's good to see that the inside of a 7720, 7710 are very close. They're almost identical as for the layout. So the idea here is that we actually have a modular GPU. I'm going to remove this here and we'll see if the main power rail short is gone. All right, so I have the GPU removed and I have the heatsink off of here. So now I'm going to actually measure that same power rail again, which I think is right here. And so we still have a short, so it's not the CPU. Let's go ahead and just inject some voltage here. I think we're ready to go. So the idea here is that we have a short on our main power rail. So I've explained this so many times, but we have 20 volts comes in, and then that goes to each one of these power rails, 3 volt, 5 volt, 1.8, 1.2, the CPU, the GPU, things like that. But what will happen is there's capacitors on all those power rails that actually go from the positive side of the power rail to ground. And some of those capacitors will actually crack with heat and time and age and all that stuff. So you'll have all these little guys here that will end up going into a wire, basically. It just cracks in half. And so it will connect one side all the way to ground, and then that will become the short. Now, if we can identify what that is and get that replaced, then we call those easy pizzas, just because of our favorite YouTube channel that fixes these boards too, Soren over there at Electronic Repair School, and he charges the price of a pizza to change out one of those. But that's a UK pizza prices though. Now, my pizzas are not $250. So I'm just gonna find another area over here to inject voltage, and then we're gonna monitor it under thermal camera and see what gets hot. Okay, this one should be good. Right here. So we just found a capacitor, and this capacitor is going into this MOSFET to produce that other power rail, but we know our main power rail is shorted. And then we're just trying to find which one has the lower resistance, this side or this side. This side has the higher resistance, so we're gonna inject onto this side. And I'm getting 0.3. So we'll inject right there, and then we'll just monitor the whole board under the thermal camera. So we are under the thermal camera now. I'm gonna do a voltage injection. I have the tool set to, we'll go down to like 0.8, 0.7. We'll start there. All right, so I'm injecting right here on this one capacitor right there, okay? And then we're just gonna see if we can find something on the board getting hot. So I'm gonna hold my hand out of the way and see if I can move this around. And I already see something over here. Look right over here. I'm only pulling 1 amp, but you can see it heating up right here on this edge. And it looks diffuse, so it looks like it's on the other side of the board. So I think we found it. It's gonna be in this area somewhere. So this looks like the power phases for the CPU. So we have our CPU here. We have 2 power phases. They only populated 2 of them, so I'm assuming this is a lower end CPU, because if it would have a third one, then it would probably be an i9 or an i7. But I bet this is like an i5 or something like that. I don't see the SR number here. Oh, here it is, SR2FN. So if someone wants to look that up. The thing is that they did not put the third power phase here, and so we only have 2 of them, but we have some sort of heat right here. I'm assuming it's gonna be some sort of capacitor probably on the other side of the board. I don't think it's one of those themselves, but there's no LLM on this machine. This is the pre-liquid metal inside of machines. But if we measure here, we have 6 ohms. We have 6 ohms here. So the CPU is measuring 6 ohms, but our main power rail is measuring 0.3, so we can rule out it being one of these MOSFETs. So if you wanted to measure across here to here, you can also see if that's measuring the same. It would be 0 if one of these were shorted, because we've seen that in the past. But because we're not having continuity across this, then we know it's not one of those. So I think it's a capacitor probably on the other side of the board. That's just my guess. Oh, it's a Xeon. Okay, so it's a Xeon E3-1505. Is that any good? I mean, Xeons are pretty awesome, but is that like a 6th gen or something? All right, so SR2FNs, Intel Spec Xeon E3, 6 gens Kaby Lake. So they're saying it's a 6th gen. All right, and the motherboard is out. That did take a long time, but we can now access what was getting hot right here on the edge of this board. I feel like I just took out every single screw that ever existed in this whole universe to get to this board, to get it out. And it's gonna be one of these, there's a couple of capacitors here. Okay, it's time for you guys to put your guess in. So we're gonna say, in chat, you ready? You're gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. All right, so which one do you think it's gonna be? But I guess we could be these little tiny guys too, but I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So I'm gonna kind of hone in on this one here and just take a look at it real quick. This one's definitely discolored, but it could be just a different rating. And this one has that weird little mark on there, but we don't know what that means. What I'm looking for is heat, so I don't think it's one of those. It's definitely gonna be one of these, I believe, because I can see the background is a little bit hotter, like on the ground right here. But it could not even be any of those. So we could be sitting here just saying that, and it's nothing. All right, let's inject some voltage here, or let's measure first, make sure we have a short. All right, positive side is gonna be the side with the via here, so I'll just inject voltage right here, or maybe I'll do it on, yeah, I'll do it right here on this one, and then we'll see. Going thermal in 3, 2, 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's this further one, not this inside one. See how this one's getting hot? Yeah, because this one's there, and this one's there. So yeah, I think it's that one. We can put some alcohol on it, we'll confirm. And then we're gonna blow it up. We're gonna make it go thermal nuclear. So I just upped the voltage to a volt. So now we're gonna have a couple amps going through it. And I'm gonna put some alcohol on here. Bubbling. Yeah, it's definitely drying up. That's it. We're gonna go up higher because we know it's not going in the CPU. Anyway, so there you go, it's sizzling. So we know it's gonna be that far one. We're just gonna take that thing off of there. So these are pretty straightforward when we have this type of situation. It's basically, the gist is that we have our main power rail, our 20 volts is actually being shorted back down to ground because this has become a wire. So I'm assuming it probably has a crack on the back. All right, so let's just get that removed. Yeah, sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. But what I was looking at is I could see the discoloration on the board itself. And that's why I thought it was gonna be one of these. No cap, no crack. No short. Oh, look, you can see a piece of the cap right there. Oh, there's the crack on the bottom. See it now? So this is what, sometimes you'll see the crack on the top, and this one's on the bottom. See how? And it's like a ceramic cap. It's almost like glass or like a plate material, you know? And so you can even see a piece right here on the board. So there you go. So now that we have that taken off of there, the short should be gone, and the board should actually start up and start working. So no short here. So we'll just grab another capacitor. I don't know what value these are. This should be a 10. I have a 10 microfarad and I have a 4.7. Those are the only two that I have right here. They're brand new. Go with the 10. This is just to stabilize the voltage going into the CPU's power rail. It's not a balanced line or anything like that. That needs some sort of special value. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of fresh leaded solder on here since I'm not pre-tinning my capacitor. So I'm just attacking on there, and then we'll make it sit more pretty, more better. There we go. So we'll get this cleaned up while it's warm. That way we can get rid of any of this residue that's left over. All right, so we do have the new capacitor installed. Now, who thinks this is gonna fix it? Hopefully everybody. Hopefully we get 100% on that one. We can check to see if the short's gone on the main power rail while we're at it. And no short on the main power rail, so that's good. And we're gonna plug it in with power, 3, 2, 1. It did not short the charger, but it did not pull any current. Why is that? Does anyone know why? We had 0 current go in. Did we break something? Did we cause more issues? Or did I forget something? Anybody? I did not plug in the DC jack. All right, plugging in 3, 2, 1. And we have current draw. Why do we have so much current draw right off the bat? I don't know. That seems like a lot. 1.75. I don't know if I like that. What's going on here? Is it starting up? That's a crazy amount. Hold on. I'm gonna unplug this. Is it charging? Do I even have, I don't even have a battery in there, bro. 3, 2, 1, plug it in. I mean, it almost seems like that's startup because it went to 0, went down to 2, went down to 0.09, so it moved around a little bit like it was a startup process. So let's see if it does a CMOS reset. Let's see if it stays flatlined or see if it moves around a little bit. We have a power button right here. I don't have a light on it. I'm gonna hold down the power button and see if it shuts off. Okay, it does shut off, but it's still pulling 0.4 with it off. Okay, now it's off. All right, so it is off. Let's press the power button again. All right, so that was a CMOS reset. It was powering on. Pay attention to where it's going. We want to see if it does get past this 37 watts that's sitting at 30 watts. As long as it's moving around, I'm very happy. We're gonna let it sit and move around. I'm gonna have a cup of coffee. Did you plug a CMOS battery back in? I did not, and that's my on purpose, because CMOS batteries cause more problems than anything, so just keep it unplugged, keep it out of the picture. You don't need it in there. I'm not even plugging CMOS batteries back in on some machines now because it causes more issues. Because if it goes a little bit flat or half flat, then the machine won't start. Because current's still moving around, we're happy. It's just, it will load. It will happen. The machine turned off again. Is it going to come back on? It should come back on its own. We have no lights. It did not come back on just now. So it just turned off and never came back on. Let's try pressing the power again. So normally it will turn on for a little while, move around, turn off, then come back on, and do that a few times, and we'll just keep doing this over and over again. Now, I'm not seeing any light here. I do have the actual power button plugged in, so we should get light codes if we're getting it. Let me hit enter. Oh, I hear fans now. The fans are spinning for a second and then just shut off. Is it gonna come back on? Come back on? Okay, hold on. I had a power button light now. I know, that's what I'm starting to think. Is it no display? Caps lock is not working. But I don't know if this daughter board works either. It is flatlining, and the fans are spinning by itself and then shutting off. So it's sitting there hanging there for a little while and shutting off. Okay, so let's figure out what that is. So we fixed the power on issue. So CMOS is unplugged. I'm going to reseat their memory. All right, so I'm just gonna move this stick over here and just run with one stick and see what it does. What is this? When I put this motherboard back in, I must have not plugged something in. Where does that go? Ah, that's our indicator light. I need to get this indicator light turned on because I bet it's giving me a light code. Here we go. Our indicator light plugs in here, and our indicators are here, and that would be where our light codes are, and I have it just like kind of plugged under this motherboard here. Let me grab it. All right, so I have my indicator light plugged in now. Oh, hey, we got a power button light now. We didn't have that before. It turned off. It's turning back on. 34, 1.4 amps. 28 watts. We're just kind of looking to see if it's doing anything different. All I did was just kind of added the indicator light, but I did move the memory actually. We did take out a stick of memory and move it over. So gonna come back on. Good, it's coming back on. If we can get above that 34 watts, 35 watts, I think it was our max. 1.93 amps was our highest. So if we can get above that, then I think we're cooking. Come on. Get above 1.93 amps, and then I'll be happy. It turned off again. As long as it's cycling on and off, I'm okay with it. It will just take like 5 times of doing that, and then we should get picture. And we have picture. I can't believe I saved another laptop. Now, how did I save this laptop? I don't know exactly what the issue was, but we did have a short on the main power rail. It was just a capacitor. Now, we did have to play a little bit of a game, and I don't know if we changed around the memory to get the thing to turn on, but at first it almost was like the machine wasn't working, but we do have it turning on now. We do have picture. It is booting up, and do confirm that this is a Xeon E5 1505 CPU from the circa 2015. These machines are super modular, where you can take them apart and actually upgrade very easily. Very hard to work on, I would say. So it's a little bit harder. It's almost like having a car. It's easy to change the oil, but it's harder to, change something like the battery or something like that. But we do have this thing up and running. I'm sure it does actually boot up to Windows and actually works. Yep, no bootable device, so I don't have anything in there. On these types of faults, it's not generally any other issue besides that main power rail capacitor that just got cracked. So definitely solved the issue on that one. Now we'll clean up all the fans, the heat sinks. I'll do all the diagnostic and testing, but we do have the thing turning on. It is actually working now. Definitely one of the more simple repairs.